Hello, and welcome back to Teachers Talk, where conversations go beyond the staff room. And today we have a beautiful, beautiful guest, Margret Janeke. Welcome
Thank you
to
so
our
much.
show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Felisa.
I'm good, thank you. So today we are discussing, I want to say controversial, I don't know if that's the word, but a very controversial topic. We are discussing parenting. And I'm joined by Margret. I want to say an expert. And I think that word puts a lot of weight on your shoulders a little bit. But she's well versed, well studied, well researched. And I met her through a parenting workshop where I work. And I just sat in this workshop and I heard her story for the first time. And yeah, I got goosebumps. I'm still getting goosebumps now. And I was like, wow, this is something we are not speaking about. A few weeks ago or a few months ago, I wrote on my WhatsApp status, there's a topic there's a topic about parenting that we need to address, and I know a lot of us are afraid to address it. And I got a lot of comments, obviously, from family and friends, and everyone's like, yes, we need to address it, we need to address it. And I'm like, you know what? It's worth speaking about on this particular platform. So thank you for gracing us with your presence. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to go through this topic, especially with you.
Oh, thank you. It's a privilege. It's an honor, and I'm humbled. And the word expert, I know I don't think we'll ever be experts,
Yeah,
not as parents or as teachers, because our kids are unique individuals, and humans are complex.
definitely.
But you learn, and I think I've learned much in my life as a parent, now as a grandparent, and as an educationalist, and I just love to share that experience.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I'm very excited. So we'll start at the heading of this all is the state of parenting 2025. But with that, I think it's always important to start with our own reflection. And you were a parent, you also mentioned now you're a grandparent. So if you'd like to just take us on the journey of Margret as a mom, where it all started, and yeah, just take us through all of that.
All right, if I just go back a little bit of background, I mean, my background comes as a teacher. I did my first degree in fine arts and then taught at Rand Park and Greenside High. I taught for many years and I actually taught matrics,
Wow.
and then got married to my first husband, Dr. Janeke, and then we moved to New Zealand for a period for research purposes. When I first while I was teaching, I did my honors degree in education,
Okay, yes.
and we then moved to New Zealand for research purposes. There, I did my masters, and I saw the gaps that they had in terms of their minority groups.
Yes.
So they specifically asked me to do a case study on curriculum initiatives for the Maori population,
Okay.
and how that could be, how that inclusivity of diversity could become something that it was a big gap in the curriculum.
Yes.
So I addressed that in my study. It was exciting, but very difficult to do that as a South African in a strange country. And I also fell pregnant with my son James at that time. And we then came back to South Africa. Our daughter Laura was born, and I was teaching part time, and slowly but surely became more aware of the problems that we faced in our I would say our historically disadvantaged schools, your poverty-stricken schools, your marginalized schools,
Yeah.
and the desperate need for good teachers,
Yes.
passionate teachers,
Yes.
and actually assisting the children to become passionately driven for their purpose and their future. Because you find in poverty-stricken schools, there's just a notion of giving up or
Yes.
not caring, high
Yes.
dropout rates.
Yeah.
And often it comes from teachers who also, the whole flow of, what's the point? It just won't get better, or
They just hit that wall.
And I just felt that, you know what, all of that was connected to how children make their choices in terms of what they see, what they perceive, how they see themselves, their circumstances, their home. And often that just put them in a slump of, you know what, if this is my home, this is
My
there's no
environment.
point,
Yeah.
you know, and to get them to go beyond that. So I was, you know, that led to the initiative of establishing an organization called Reachforlifenoregrets. So that was launched in 2008. And I've just been really actively involving myself in impacting schools that are
Yes.
in need of good teaching, and especially the life skills curriculum, because that seems to be a very undermined section of the syllabus, or it's very undermined, it's very undervalued. The teachers that teach life skills are undervalued. You look at the math teacher, and
They get the crown.
yeah,
Yes.
the science
English teacher. Yeah.
but the life skills teacher,
Not
like,
so much. It's
you
just
know,
life skills.
like, well, then that's my niche. I'm gonna invest myself in the life skills, because a child that really has a good idea of life skills
Yes.
will succeed in all other subjects. So, you know, making good choices,
EQ versus IQ.
valuing their worth,
Yeah.
valuing who they are, their identity, seeing the purpose of why they were created and what their future looks like, regardless of where they are, is huge.
Yeah.
So that became my impetus, and I just really, so I developed a curriculum that goes alongside that of the DET.
Okay.
And it just works on the narrative, because kids connect with stories.
Yes.
You know, and the story of life is a big one. So that's, you know, that's what I do. And then of course I also saw the need for um, a really big need for value regeneration in our schools.
Yes.
So my whole thesis for my PhD was around the moral regeneration of secondary schools. So I did an intensive study. I really went deep into various districts across socioeconomic districts in Gauteng. Only Gauteng, that was the only limitation of the study, because I couldn't go wider.
Okay.
But I collected all my data from the lived experiences of teachers and what they face in the classroom.
Yes.
So that was the core of what I contribute to the body of knowledge. Is this is not just book value, it's real experiences. What do they see? How do they experience, especially the role of parents?
Yes.
And how that comes through, and the impact it has on a teacher's daily life.
Yes.
And so that was a big theme in my thesis. Apart from all the other themes, social technology, all the other dilemmas that we face, the role of parenting came through as the root cause of moral degeneration in our schools in South Africa. Across the spectrum, there was not a single school that didn't agree with that whole dilemma that we face, and that they really wanted to see strategies developed. So I developed 7 strategies to really address that, and it evolved in a value-based framework that can actually address moral regeneration. So that is what I strive for. You know, just looking at South Africa, there's just so much potential in this country. And, you know, I've never felt I want to run away, or I want to give up, or it's just too much, but we need to work at it. You know, as a body, we need to have a coherent a cooperation between I don't know if we'll ever get it from the DET or from department, but if it comes from schools and teachers and parents, like a big difference. Big difference.
It definitely will. I think even with this channel and the people that I've spoken to, it's that we all reiterate the same thing. We need to all start working as a well-oiled machine. And once we start doing that as a collective, we might just start, you know, seeing the change.
Yes, we have to address it collectively.
Yes.
Because teachers are fighting a battle, often against parents. You know, parents who are in denial, or actually coming against the school, the policies, with a very defensive attitude in the whole aim of protecting their children
Yes.
and doing more emotional harm in terms of the children's resilience to become independent adults
Yes.
than the parents could ever even begin to imagine.
That's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah. So then what of your research and when you think of parents in 2025, what are the things you've come across to say, okay, these are red flags. This is maybe things that parents are doing and are unaware that they are causing harm, or in their opinion it's hurting. What are the things that just from your research and your lived experience you can pinpoint to say these are some of the things that are happening and we need to address?
well, if I can first go back to my own lived experience,
Yes.
if you look at the children are always going to make different choices depending on their emotional resilience, and parents play a big role in that.
Yes.
So sometimes we don't understand the unique, I would say, the unique complexities of our children. We're not always aware of everything, but that is the biggest factor that a parent can focus on, and that is how can I develop the emotional IQ of my child. Parents are so focused on the emotional EQ. They're
Yes.
so focused on the IQ.
And sports, or it's either
It's
sports or academia.
awards, yes, and
Yes.
the children have to be trophy children, and they can't make mistakes. They've got to be tops, and they've got to be top performers, and they've got to be the best in the class, and the top 10. And but the EQ is the place that a child makes his choices out of. So if I look at my own two children, they have made very different choices. Um, Especially sometimes it doesn't happen, while they're under the wing and they're at home and
Yes.
everything is safe and secure.
Yeah.
But sometimes it happens later and there's a crisis that hits. And the fact that that EQ is not completely solidly rooted can allow that adult child to fall apart. I mean, in 2013, my late husband had a spinal trauma. So he survived that for 4 years under great challenges, with many challenges, but passed away in 2017. And my daughter and my son dealt with that very differently. My daughter was at that stage at WITS doing her final year in teaching. She just worked up, herself into an absolute frenzy and outperformed every other student. My son, on the other hand, didn't deal with it emotionally at all, and 6 months later fell into heavy addiction. And that was messy and dark.
Yeah.
And for any parent going through that,
Yes.
at any stage of their lives, I can just say that is a journey that you need to deal with in a very, very objective way as a parent.
Yes.
You cannot be in denial about it. Addiction is something that will make a parent feel like you've caused it. So now you've got to cure it and you've got to control it.
Yes.
But you can't control it and you can't cure it. And often you never caused it. But there's different things that evolve in a child's life, and it happens.
Yes.
But you need to join a support group. I joined a support group, which I think saved my life because it was 2 very dark and very messy years. I felt like I was mourning two people. I was mourning my late husband, and I was mourning my son who was slowly destroying his life, and he fell apart completely. But thank God he came clean. He's married. He's been 5 years clean. He's got a little baby girl, Taya. Um, and actually, the us working through that a time of addiction and the way we dealt with it together allowed my son to finally emotionally mature in a way that he can now be resilient. So, even with addiction, a parent can be so afraid of facing it, and the world mustn't think, my family's perfect, and nobody must know about this, and I'm sorry, this is messy, Mama, and you're gonna have to you're going to have firstly, you're going to have a lot of friends that's going to pray with you,
Yes.
because your spiritual resilience is going to have to carry you. And then you need a lot of wisdom and you need guidance. So a strong support group. I joined the HEAL support group, and the acronym it's Healing and Educating Addicted Lives.
Okay.
And they gave me so much guidance on how to deal with it, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say.
Yes.
And to actually assist my son in the correct way to get to that place that he could surrender.
Yes.
Because rehab is not a fix.
Yeah.
You can send your son or your daughter to 10 rehabs.
Yes.
They'll just come back and they'll relapse again and again. But to get them to that complete surrender, how the parents deal with it will make a huge difference.
A big role.
I always say, if the parents don't come alongside in the recovery process, the child will never recover. Whether it's a child or an adult child, they'll never recover. And I saw that when I was in that recovery group, that support group. We would be 30, 40 parents sitting, and almost every single child in addiction had a parent that was battling with different parenting style issues.
Yes.
It was still parenting.
Yes.
And the fact that we've either enabled our children, we've indulged our children, our authoritarian methods caused rebellion, or we were permissive parents wanting to be chummies with them throughout their childhood, or whatever it was, or they just didn't emotionally grow to a point where they could support themselves. It's not always, but parenting plays a big role.
Yes.
Wow, I saw that in that recovery.
In that support group.
Yes, in that support group. The parents that took the support group and the education that they received seriously, their children are still clean.
Wow.
In the rehab that my son was in, and this is now, he's the only person or the only male that came out of that rehab that's still clean.
Sure.
All 42 other addicts, male and female, have all relapsed. Without the correct support, without the correct education, without the parents have to heal as well.
Yes.
And if they don't heal, they don't understand how the education process works with the healing, helping their adult child in recovery.
Yes.
I'm sure that, so that's just a little bit of, I just feel, what, I learned so much from that.
Yes.
And I'm willing to share with any parent, that would ever want to contact me, how to, that's a painful journey. My health collapsed. I developed so many health issues during that time. It's a process for a parent that makes you feel more helpless than anything else.
Yes.
Because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And you see this process of death, and the destruction of the entire family
happening right before your eyes.
Everybody falls apart. It's not just the addict. Everybody falls apart.
Yes.
And addiction actually causes the destruction of the entire family structure. Mom and dad fight. They often end up in divorce. I had a friend whose son was an addict. She had a heart attack. Sure. You under so much stress. Yes. And the behavior of the adult child changes to the point that they become an enemy of the family.
Yes.
They'll break into the house, they'll steal, they'll beat mom up, they'll lie. They develop a completely new moral conscience, and it's not your child
anymore. Yeah.
So unless you know how to deal with that, it will destroy you.
Yes.
So that I really want to emphasize, that the parenting role, when a child makes a mistake or when they is vital. Our children are never going to be perfect. Thank God we can just learn. I learned so much from my son's addiction. Yes. I think more than I could ever learn from all the educational books I've studied throughout life.
Yes.
I learned how to love him and how to go through the addiction with sound principles.
Yes.
Because sometimes that becomes such a problem that you almost want to hate the person.
Yes.
But you've got to love that person. Love can never be removed from that equation.
Yes.
You've got to love that child throughout that difficulty. You've got to love them deeply. Yes. And then you've got to learn how to deal with it. and a support group is vital. I think for anything we go through,
In life, yes.
support groups help a lot.
I'm speaking for the parent who's watching this and who maybe thinks that such resources as a support group, or Margaret maybe was in a better financial position or better educated to seek these things out. Obviously, we live in a context where there's so many multiple demographics. What of that parent who's watching this and is in that situation and is saying, okay, where do I start? Firstly, in building um, a solid foundation for the emotional, what do we call it, the EQ of my child, and where do I get these groups? Because I'm thinking that's brilliant, but where are these groups? Maybe if you know, but I think later on in the video you'll share, or we'll share also in links and numbers and all of that.
Look, for example, Heal is a group that I mean it's free of it's free of charge. There's no charge to attend.
Yes.
You just receive guidance. You receive support. There are a lot of groups like that. I mean, you think of Necro. A lot of your support groups are free of charge.
Yes.
But the problem is often you find the parents are not willing to attend.
Okay, so it's not the will of the person.
Yes, it's like this is the child's problem. He needs to get through this. He must go to rehab, or we'll just carry on enabling him until you actually can't deal with this monster anymore.
Yes.
And that's not you've got to do the uncomfortable thing. You've got to navigate it through as a family. The best outcome, is when mom and dad supports the support group. Sometimes I attended when mom, dad, and the siblings
were all there.
Attended the support group, and they were all there. Let's help our brother. He's really in a mess.
Sure.
And then you find a really strong network that is like, okay, we're going to embrace this. We're not going to show him that we've marginalized him. We're going to support him. But remember, love comes with boundaries.
Yes.
And that's where parents struggle. And I find that's something that we really need to be open about. It's something that I became aware of this was now in my PhD, is that there are actually certain types of parenting that can cause serious mental harm. To build the EQ and to build that resilience, it's going to take some tough parenting. It's tough. It's. I wouldn't say, people, a lot of organizations, even you get tough love. I wouldn't, it's just there's got to be love and there's got to be boundaries, because children are secure in that. And a lot of people would say, okay, but 2025, why does it look so different? Why do we have an exacerbation all of a sudden of mental health issues? Why didn't we have this in 2000? It wasn't this intense.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we've had a lot of things. We've had COVID. We've had, COVID caused a lot of anxiety. Children still suffer from that anxiety. So that threw them into that pit where they almost self-soothed themselves with social media. Okay, so now I can just soothe myself. I can be in this place. I don't have to socialize. I don't have to go out. But on the other hand, also, it's life has become busier.
Yes.
Both parents are working. As I grew up, a lot of moms were at home. They were there. They were, and social media is a blessing, but also an enemy at the same time. So it's stolen a lot of time. It's stolen a lot of communication. So parents are filling the gaps.
Yes.
Sometimes with all the wrong
things.
Yeah. So, if you want to, we can go through them, the different ones, and see how they impact the mental health of children.
Yes, I think, let's go through the different parenting styles so that even our viewers at home can be able to take note of it and try and figure out where do they, fit in these parenting styles.
I think the biggest thing that emotional resilience develop is a strong sense of self.
Yes.
And that's very important. a strong sense of self will limit your blind spots. Because I mean, when you have blind spots, it's going to make you more vulnerable to make mistakes or to be influenced. You know,
Can I play the
so
devil's advocate there and the strong sense of self? A lot of people will then argue that the sense of self comes from, and this is just things we've read about and we both know of, a two-parent household, one. Then you lose your father, maybe because your father doesn't decided he's not going to be a part of your life, or in your case, through death, you know. And now you're in a single mother household or a single father household, and that sense of self is then arguably with what people have shown the narrative to be that it gets lost because now I don't know my father hasn't been around, or my father died when I was too young to get to know him, my mother is caught up in getting trying to make sure that the household survives, there's bread on the table. I don't have a sense of self. So how do we navigate? Because I know there's a lot of things, those are things that people speak about on a daily, you know, on TikTok and all these social media platforms to say, how do you navigate the sense of self with those as your situation?
you know, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. Each home is different,
Yes.
and I work in a lot of marginalized areas of, I think, Soweto, Everton West, Orange Farm, Innerdale, where I would say 1 out of 10 of those children maybe have a father,
Yes.
or where, you know, 9 of them have never seen their father. And it's not like the father is deceased or he's there, but he's not
Just
there.
not in the picture.
You know, he's not interested, and that's a sad reality. You know, that dads play such a big role.
Yeah.
You know, the dad that's present in a girl's life, and nurtures that love for her to feel that security of self and identity, can be almost assured that she's not going to get involved in risky sexual activity at a very early age, because she feels secure in herself in terms of how her father has affirmed her. So sadly, we lack that, and how do you make up for that? That's hard because mom can't really make up for that on her own. But you know, you've got to look at, what do you have? What do I have? If you're going to look at what you don't have,
then yeah, we're not going to go anywhere.
so it's just never going to work, because then what are we going to, you know, then you're going to say, okay, I don't have this, so it's never going to work.
Yes.
So if mom is a single mom, communication is vital. And it's hard because mom has to deal with so many things, but that's where you've got to try and make that. Yes,
I think I also just want to highlight that you mentioned something that I think a lot of people think is not a thing. Support groups. Go to these groups. That's where you find mentorship. That's where you find other people who might play the father role, maybe in, you know, your perspective in your life if you're a single mom or whatever the case may be. But I think I like that you highlighting the sense of community and support groups, because yes, I might not have my husband with me, yes, I might not have a partner in the household who's playing the father figure, but there are groups and initiatives and things like that out there that are there to help.
You know, or you know, the thing is, it's you've got to find a healthy, um, yes, a healthy support base, and that can also, doesn't necessarily, that can also be your church, strong youth leaders that can be trusted. Of course, everybody has to be evaluated in terms of trust.
Yeah.
Maybe a grandfather, who's really a strong role model. You know, family plays a big role. Family can, you know, I look at my son currently. His dad passed away in 2017. I mean, he completely lost the plot. I mean, he, you know, it took 2 years before he surrendered into recovery. But he's been very blessed, with his wife, who has a biological father and a stepfather, who's almost become mentors for my son.
Yes.
So it's not his dad. And my son still, like yesterday, he said, Mom, you know, I still get emotional when I think about dad. And, you know, I sent him this, you know, Google sends you these photo memories, and he could see, you know, 8 years ago, wow, that was the last time I saw dad. And it was like, and he became very emotional. But the mentorship from these two males make a big difference. You need to find mentors.
Yes.
And they cannot be online. They have to be real, tangible. You can't have online mentors. Because the children need to be able to identify and to be able to sit with somebody and talk, and somebody needs to listen. Kids are desperate for somebody to listen to them.
And they crave attention and love.
I spoke to a girl the other day, and I said to her, what do you really want? What is it that's such a big issue for you? She says, my mom must just put her phone down. And my mom will put her phone down, but put her phone, because she'll put her phone down, and then we'll be talking, and then she'll hear beep, like, okay, let me quickly, like, because I missed something. Geez, we are so focused on, have we missed something? It's like, to put that phone maybe in the other room. And to make an intentional effort to communicate, to look at the child's eyes, to see, to feel, to understand, to connect, and to like, what's ticking, it can make a huge difference. It can make a huge difference. If I look at my daughter's life, I mean, the role that I played in her life, as broken as I was, geez, I was broken. I mean, I had just lost my husband. My son was in deep addiction, but I was there for my daughter. I was there for her. Oh, I became very emotional, and I held her hand. And you've got to do that. You've got to hold their hand. Otherwise, life will just swallow them. And stuff will swallow them. And there's a lot of stuff that can swallow them.
Yes.
So,
but back to the parenting.
The parenting. So if you look at the parenting styles, okay, so let's look at the first one. We the ones that I identified was authoritarian, permissive, overprotective, overindulgent, and authoritative. So, I mean, most parents won't even realize that they exercising a certain style. They would just be parenting. This is how I do it. This is what works. It's okay. It works for me. Until there's a problem. And then it's, we need an expert, or we need a counselor.
We need a therapist.
A psychologist. And then you run to a whole lot of therapists. But a lot of things can be solved, and a lot of things can be avoided through intentional, correct, through parenting that makes sense. Parenting that, and it might not always feel good. I actually watch my son and his wife now. Him having been in addiction. He's the best dad ever. Listen, you've messed up. He's like, my daughter's not going to do that.
High five to James.
He's not authoritarian, but he doesn't allow his daughter to manipulate him. And a lot of parents are so scared of offending their children's feelings or emotions, but that doesn't help them to become emotionally resilient, because it becomes a process of manipulation that then becomes a lifestyle, becomes a mindset, and leads to actual mental health issues. Because manipulation is the core of abuse. Manipulation is the core of narcissism. Manipulation. You will manipulate your child, you will manipulate your wife. You will manipulate your boss. You will become a manipulator. And that is tragic. So my son said to me actually the other day when I went to visit, he was like, Mom, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't let her do that. I did that to you, and look what happened. Can't let her do that.
Don't let her manipulate you.
I'm like, okay. I know. It was like, it's incredible what happens when you've actually learned through mistakes. And I think
you're actually applying the corrections.
We're afraid of making mistakes.
We can't be. That's a part of being human. Like, we can't run away from it.
Parents are afraid of making mistakes. And I think apart from, before we look at all the different styles here, the big thing that came through the interviews that I did with the teachers was that parents are either physically or emotionally absent. They might be there, but they're not there.
Yes.
They're so busy, so involved, they're so absent. They basically just running a schedule for their kids. And you often find that, I'm sorry to say, in your big private schools, running a schedule, because the schedule will be replace the babysitter.
Yes.
So if I can involve my child in
Netball,
2 activities
soccer,
every
swimming.
day,
Yeah.
get him home, tired as anything, he doesn't want anything from me. Oh, I'm so happy. This is working. Yeah. And he's going to be, he's going to be my number one kiddo, and he's going to get all the awards. And
doesn't work like
for those
that.
who are absent because they're not, they're not available. Dads who just choose not to be involved, and that's a sad reality. But and that their biggest or the biggest factor that is related to the delinquent behavior that we have in secondary school, and I'm talking about, I did every district in Gauteng, and I interviewed multiple teachers. They all said delinquent behavior is mainly contributed to parenting.
Yes.
Delinquent behavior, asocial, psychosocial delinquency, where behaviors are absolute, especially your bullying.
Yes.
Your bullying doesn't just happen. Your child's not born a bully.
No.
That lack of empathy, lack of compassion,
learned behavior.
It's behavior that often, it's either a reaction or it's a continuation of being bullied. So it will either be, I'll continue what dad does to me. He bullies me. He controls me. So I will bully and control every other child, or you react because you're angry.
Yes.
I'm angry at mom and dad. I'm angry at what's happening. I'm angry at their fighting. I'm angry at stuff. The angry child is often, the bully.
The bully.
But so if we unpack the authoritarian parent, sadly that's, often called the narcissistic parent, where love becomes conditional.
Yes.
So I'm going to love you as long as you achieve, and I'm going to control you, and I'll set the rules, and you will obey them, and it's my way or the highway.
Or the highway, yeah.
I don't know if you see that.
I do.
It's a tricky one. Hey?
It is.
A tricky one. And we often find, a lot of research was done in places like Japan, where and high suicide rate with authoritarian parenting.
Yeah.
But it also, often sometimes reflecting on what dad did and what grandfather did.
Yes, it goes back with layers.
Yes, you'll sometimes find that my parents were authoritarian. They beat the daylights out of us. It was this way or the highway. So I'm just going to be a permissive parent.
Everything
I'm just going to
flies in my house.
do whatever. Do whatever you like, because that didn't feel good.
Yes.
And that's also, you've got to
get the balance, hey?
You've got to heal from that and then find the right balance, because that's also not going to be healthy.
Yes.
So what our parents did and the mistakes they made should help us to reflect and to say, like, okay, so what's the best way?
Yeah.
What's the best way? Mom and dad really didn't do this well. It's a tough one, hey?
It is.
And then often you find that the child from that home becomes a real bully, because the only way they can act out, because they can control a younger child or bully him out of anger for how dad is acting at home every day, or mom. It's then we have the permissive parent, which is the opposite, but just as harmful, where mom and
Yes.
dad, rather want to be friends instead of parents, and don't understand that love really requires parenting,
Yeah.
and it requires boundaries, and it requires that very often you've got to say no. You've got to say, this is how, you find if they're over responsive in terms of the child needs, it actually hinders the child's growth in terms of their own independence.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand how they've got to grow.
Mm.
And it leads to emotional immaturity. And I found this interesting. Permissive parents eventually become resources just to be used by their children. So that's a hard one. It's like, okay, so dad will just, allow everything.
Yeah. When I
to
need
do
this, I can just call
whatever.
dad. Yeah.
It's instead of understanding that dad is there to protect me
Yeah.
and to lead me and to guide me. And I think one of the biggest role we have as parents is to guide and nurture our children to become responsible and independent, because they're going to have to lead their own lives.
Yes.
At some other stage. I found a lot in the support group with addiction. A lot of the children came out of very permissive households. The permissive household or the overindulgent household.
Yeah.
It's just so all of them. If you look at these, all of them have the potential to cause mental health issues.
Yes.
Which is our biggest problem in 2025. If the children are diagnosing themselves, they'll say, I've got bipolar, dual personality disorder, I'm ADHD, and it's actually not true.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we all have those mental health issues. It's just an outflow. And then you have the overprotective parent, also one
Yes.
that really inhibits the emotional resilience, the helicopter parent, the one that wants to prevent the child from taking any risks or any responsibilities. So the child cannot make mistakes. The overprotective parent will, if the child, for example, didn't do a task for school and they're going to get into trouble, they will phone the teacher,
email the
teacher. They'll do the project late at night till 4 in the morning. They'll do the whole katoot, but the child cannot get into trouble.
Yes.
Oh, big red flags.
No sense of reality.
Red flags. Because any child that is not allowed to make mistakes will never become independent or resilient in order to learn how to deal with life. And the fact that we are going to make mistakes, how do we deal with them?
Yeah.
How do we ameliorate our behavior? So mom and dad will fix it. They'll fix it. They've always fixed it. And now you're working. And I remember at the support group, there was one mom. The son would go binging on drugs every weekend. He would go on a binge with alcohol and drugs. She would phone the boss on Monday
to make an excuse for him
that he's sick or he's. Eventually, the support group broke through, and he's been in rehab now for 6 months. He's doing so well.
Yeah.
But she had to learn that you cannot do that. You cannot excuse a mistake or a behavior. They've got to get into trouble. It sounds hard, Lisa, but we've got to get into trouble. And we've got to have, just a little bit of an experience of this is not right. Go home and fix it. Nobody else is you're going to fix it. Yes, you can have help and mom can support, but being defensive about the children's mistake is going to overprotect them and inhibit their independence, and fixing their mistakes is going to completely inhibit their social, emotional, and social resilience. Something that I found very interesting here is these children are more prone to depression and becoming addicted to substances as a means of gaining some control. Because mom is always, trying to control everything. They also develop patterns of delinquency and excessive anxiety.
Mm.
If you've got a helicopter over you all the time, we can imagine for ourselves, if somebody's over your shoulder the whole time,
Yeah.
you develop serious anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest causes for anxiety amongst kids.
Mm.
Is parents who are just
Constantly.
I need to watch you. Are you doing this? Have you done your homework? Let me help you. It's hard.
It's
Then the
hard.
overindulgent parent. Let me inundate you with resources. What do you want? Whatever you want.
I got it for you.
Well, it's a big one. I'm sure you see a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say is the nuance of behavior goes out of that?
I always describe that learner, it's the student in my classroom who feels like everything is, it's the instant gratification for them. It's always, no, mom, my mom will get this, or I failed this. No, I'm gonna show it to my mom, and we will find one mark in that. And it's like, you cannot find a mark. It is wrong. It is how it is. Accept it and be able to move on. Not everything is going to be like, not everything is going to be ticked. Not everything is going to be right. Not everything is going to be solved by mom or dad, or by the money that mom and dad has. Life just doesn't work like that. And those children struggle with friendships, because now I'm the popular kid. I can buy everyone everything. Go to the tuck shop. What do you want? I have this. I have that. And children pick up on those things, and then that child finds themselves lonely, because I don't want to spend breaks you telling me about all your trips and all of that and all of that. And then that child struggles socially, because now other children can't relate, and then now we're dealing with mental issues now, because now we need to reteach, or we need to sit down with Bobby and say, Bobby, but you can't, have instant gratification for everything. Sometimes you've hurt another child, and you need to be humble and say sorry to another child, because you are not always right. But you grew up in this household where you get everything, you are always right, you are praised as that child. That also needs to have balance. So we do definitely, as teachers, see that, in our
I am
classrooms.
sure you do, and that is parents don't understand that connection with immediate gratification causes such a psychosocial disconnection, because immediate gratification, what is that? It'll be pornography, it'll be addiction, it'll be overeating. So often you find obesity, the child that constantly wants to, eat or whatever. It creates a pattern where they need to be satisfied all the time. They need to be. There can never be a space where I'm lacking. I need to be satisfied, and you need to overindulge me with that. So the biggest one that I saw here is it leads to overeating, overspending, huge problems with interpersonal boundaries and decision making. And another one that I'm sure you've seen. These children are often characterized with extreme boredom. They've been so overindulged that nothing excites them anymore.
Nothing.
They're totally bored.
Yes.
Bored with
How
life,
they
bored
mind.
with everything. They need to be constantly entertained.
Yes.
And the parents are prepared to do that. And that is a big, children need to learn how to entertain themselves, how to, and also without indulging them. This is a big one. Overindulged children tend to become obnoxious, ill-tempered, ill-mannered, selfish, and often immoral.
Yes.
And the one thing I can emphasize is that all of the facts that I've got have all been researched. They are researched facts. So their behavior often becomes intrusive, obstructive, and manipulative. And it's a real red flag for all predisposing addictive behavior, because all addictive behavior will be obstructive and manipulative. Like I've said, manipulative. Manipulation's a big one, and it's a real red flag in all households. As soon as the child begins to manipulate and you give in, you indulge them with something, they will just constantly manipulate. There'll be no end.
Yes.
And they learn quickly. It's not like, oh, this is my mom, I'm not going to manipulate her. No, this is my mom, I am going to manipulate her. She'll fall for this.
Yeah.
And then we get to the last one, which is a healthy parenting style. So, what's the option? What's the best? And it's authoritative parenting. So, not to be confused with authoritarian. Authoritarian is
control.
the very strict control. There's no
room for error.
Yeah, there's no room for a mistake.
Yeah.
You've got to do it, and often those are also the parents that insist that their children have to be top achievers. It's a sad one. And then your authoritative parenting is where you really are involved as a parent. You're involved, but you allow the children to take their own space and to find their own identity while you support them. So you support them without trying to manipulate them as parents. Your love is not conditional. It's completely unconditional, whether they achieve or they don't achieve, whether they make mistakes or they don't mistakes. You're there to support them. It's a high degree of parental acceptance and warmth. So I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna be there for you, but I'm gonna set boundaries. And when I set boundaries, I'm gonna reason them. So we're gonna sit down and we're gonna reason through this.
Yes.
And we're gonna discuss this. Let's take the example, for example, at the moment when kids are, I don't know, on a tangent, they need a vape.
Yes.
Everybody's vaping. I need a vape. Mom, you need to get me a vape. It's much better than me ending up smoking.
Yeah.
And the parent is like, okay, I don't want you to smoke. I'll buy you a vape. There's no understanding. But if mom had to sit down and first say, listen, let's look at this.
Let's look into
Look into this. Why do you want to do this, first of all? What's the reason? Find out what, talk, communicate. And then reason with the child that this is a health risk. It's a long-term health risk.
Yes.
If parents can just understand that vaping is actually more harmful than cigarettes.
Yes.
Because of for example, the flavorants, the chemicals that are in the flavorants, containing formaldehyde and diacetyl and, a whole lot of ingredients that are used to make glue.
Yeah.
Needs to be considered. And mutual communication is respected in the authoritative parents. That you actually respect each other, and the authoritative parent takes full responsibility for the task of parenting and setting healthy boundaries.
Yes.
And I look at my son's home at the moment, and it's like sometimes it's so tiring because he just like, Mom, I'm not going to allow these boundaries to be bent.
Yes.
Because if I give into this, it's going to be the next and the next.
Yeah.
But we'll do it in a way of love.
Yeah.
You've got to. So I think that's, to be consistent. That these are my rules and I'm not going to compromise them because they're good for you.
Yes.
To reason, to explain, so that the child understands that these boundaries are behind them.
Yeah.
If I don't want you to do this, or I don't want you to go to that party, why don't you? It's because this is what I know, and this is what these are the reasons to reason through them.
Yeah.
And to give the child that freedom also to express
themselves. Yeah.
Does that help?
It does. I think it does help. I think my only wish throughout of all of this, because we are slowly running out of time, but I want us to have a part 2, obviously, to discuss the other things like social media.
Oh, yes.
All of these things that are currently maybe are faced as battles in parenting for our parents. So we will definitely have a part 2 about this. But I think the first part, what we've just discussed now, is outlining the different types of parenting to say, just gauge yourself as a parent. Where are you? What can you do? We've spoken about the support groups that are out there. You've shared your story with us. And I think for me, what I would love for parents to take from this is we are not expecting perfection from them.
No.
We love our parents to death. I love my parents to death. And we just want to come to a place where we can freely express ourselves. Parents can freely express themselves and say, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm struggling with. How can I navigate around this? And know that there is help.
Yes.
there is help out there, and people like yourself who've gone further and researched, and I'm sure even in your own time, in the things that you're doing in schools now, you are having an action plan to say, I would like to put an end to this mini social war that we are experiencing as kids, as parents, to say it has to come to an end. Someone somewhere somehow can do something, and you've been bold enough to say, I'm going to do something about it.
Well, you know what? I care a lot about young people, and I care a lot about often young people that a lot of people have given up on, or they see them too difficult, or
Yes.
I have a heart for brokenness. I've been broken many times in my life, and when we are vulnerable, we need support.
Yes.
And we need love.
Yes.
And love is something that can never be taken out. There's no perfect way. Yes, we've looked here at parenting, but I mean, love needs to be the primary ingredient
Center,
of a
yes.
home.
Always.
Children needs to feel that they are loved unconditionally, that they're secure in that love, that mom and dad will never withdraw that love, whether they make a mistake or whether. So parents don't have to be so uptight about trying to control the whole thing, because if it
Yes.
happens and there's a mistake and there's a
It is what
blowout,
it is.
well, then we deal with
We
it.
deal, and together.
Yes, and if your marks drop, well, then we're going to deal with it. What happened?
Together,
Okay, it's or things. It doesn't have to be
The
perfect.
end, yes.
The one thing I can say to parents today is you will learn more from the imperfections and from the struggles than you will learn by trying to navigate a perfect story.
Perfectly said.
Yes.
Perfectly said. Oh, thank you so much, Margaret. We will come back for part two. That much we do promise.
Yes.
We'll wrap it up here for today. Next time, we'll delve deeper into, like I said, the social media, the technology, all of those things, just to navigate. This is a platform where I just want parents, teachers, kids, anyone in the space to say, okay, I can take something from this. And I think I've learned a lot. You made me emotional. We went through a beautiful conversation. I really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I'll see you next time.
Next time.
Okay. Thank
Everyone
you.
at home. Yes, to everyone at home, thank you. Please don't forget to do your homework, like, comment, subscribe. Parents, join in the conversation. We want to hear from you. And hopefully, maybe in the next conversation I have with Margaret, will also entertain, the questions and queries and maybe things that you would want me to ask Margaret. But for now, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.